Do audiobooks help kids read better? Discover a whole new world of digital audiobooks and other spoken word content programs that could change your life, as well as your kids. Math doesn't have to be scary when the right tool is available to help students break through barriers. Today, you'll see a graphing calculator which is helping students get a grip on math easier and faster. Would you like to take the kids for a different kind of family getaway? We visit a family-friendly city on the banks of the mighty Mississippi, Baton Rouge. It's all about you, your kids, and lifestyle. This is Designing Spaces, Kids Spaces. Do audiobooks help kids read better? Discover a whole new world of digital audiobooks and other spoken word content programs that could change your life as well as your kids. There's nothing like getting swept up in a good book. But with so many of us juggling a busy lifestyle, time for reading may seem like an impossible luxury. Kids Spaces visited Audible.com in Newark, New Jersey to discover a whole new world of digital audiobooks and other spoken word content programs that could change your life as well as your kids.
Audible is the audio service that allows millions of people to drive to work all over the world listening to Claire Danes or Dustin Hoffman read them a story.
Donald Katz is the founder and CEO of Audible.com. Before founding Audible, Katz himself was an author and journalist.
I was a magazine journalist. I was one of the original Rolling Stone writers based in London. I wrote books that a lot of people read, and I was supposed to write a book about the changing of media because of digital technology. And rather than write a book, I decided to start a company.
This is Audible.com's headquarters, where books are brought to life in audio every day in the office's 6 state-of-the-art recording studios.
"Why is he weeping?" asked a little green lizard, as he ran past him with his tail in the air.
Audiobook listeners are a passionate group. They're book lovers, determined to fit more books into their lives.
We feel as if audiobooks are really at the beginning of their growth potential, and there aren't yet enough books for people to listen to. We want every good book that somebody might read to be available in audio.
Beth Anderson has been with Audible.com since the very beginning, some 17 years, and her main task is to introduce new content.
What we're looking for are books that have a strong narrative throughput. So a cookbook wouldn't necessarily work. A picture book obviously isn't going to work, but it can be fiction, it can be nonfiction, it can be a mystery, it can be a biography. Something that's got a strong story is what we like to make available, and what our customers like to listen to.
A focus on the quality of audio performances is essential. 2012's A-List collection featured performances by Hollywood luminaries like Colin Firth, Anne Hathaway, and Nicole Kidman. Other narrators may not be familiar faces, but Audible customers love their voices. Many Audible customers choose their next book because it was read by a favorite narrator.
When we match a book with a narrator, we take a look at the book. We see who's telling the story. Is it first person, third person, male, female? How old are they? Where are they from? Do they have an accent? Is there a dialect? Is there a regionalism?
Kat Lambrix is the production manager here at Audible. Along with her executive and co-producer, she's responsible to cast books with fitting narrators.
We think about who works with this book in terms of age and storytelling, background knowledge, all those things.
According to a recent scientific study, a well-narrated text can help all readers with comprehension and retention. In 2012, together with Amazon, Audible introduced Immersion Reading. With Immersion Reading, owners of the new Kindle Fire and Kindle Fire HD are able to read and listen to the professionally narrated audio at the same time, creating a more immersive and engaging experience.
Most people believe if they read more books, their lives would be more enriched, they'd be more successful, good things would happen, but people just don't have time. So you take this time that's largely in the car, and 100 million Americans drive to work by themselves every morning. and they have hundreds of millions of hours per week that they can use when they realize Audible exists to be readers. We're in Newark, New Jersey at a very cool headquarters with a very open office environment, and people walk in here and they say it looks like Silicon Valley, and here we are on the East Coast where not a lot of companies have these kinds of open technology-driven kinds of environments.
Through Audible's Intern and Audible Scholars program with North Star Academy, top students are recruited in order to gain the beneficial experience of being a part of a high-profile company's operation.
It's a project we initiated back in 2007 to provide internship opportunities to high school students. That program, internship program, evolved into a scholarship program.
I started working here my senior year of high school, and all throughout my time in college, they asked me to come back and they provided me with a scholarship, which was awesome. As an intern at Audible, I'm gaining professionalism, how to interact with people in the corporate environment.
These kids are part of the company. They're real employees. They go through the employee program. We have various other efforts in the city to become part of the city's efforts, and it's become something that causes people to want to work here because a lot of companies don't really have those kinds of social missions. We just decided to be one of those companies.
For more information on Audible, go to audible.com. To see this segment of Kid Spaces again, visit designingspaces.tv and click on the Kid Spaces section, where you'll find the audible.com video. Be a friend and join in the conversation on Facebook at facebook.com/dspacestv. It's all about you, your kids, and lifestyle. This is Designing Spaces, Kid Spaces.
You can visit these websites to learn more about the participants on this edition of Designing Spaces.